Erin's pulling out a ukulele. She about to sing a song?
Do you have a song? Are you going to sing us a song?
Erin, bring us in.
Let's do it.
She's gonna thank you, okay?
Hey, girl, hey.
That's so cute.
I've been trying to find what could make you happy. I never could dream that it was just me. 'Cause there's gold in the line, just look and you'll find it. It's calling, just open your eyes, and you'll be alright.
Welcome to Hey Girl Hey, a podcast where we talk about literally anything. I'm Erin.
I'm Cari.
And I'm Elise.
And we're three sisters.
We nailed it. Cari and I nailed it.
I
Okay.
think.
I don't know what Erin's doing.
Okay, on my end, it sounded like perfect
It's
unison.
the delay.
What was that? Elise, your sassy face.
Look at Erin's sassy face. Like,
Look,
girl.
on my end, it sounded just fine. Okay, I don't know how to make it better.
Oh, you're Southern showing.
Look, every now and then you gotta pull it out because people say things. You're like, that is not. No, you don't understand. I may be from
Y'all.
Florida, honey, but I am still a Southern girl at heart.
Biscuits and gravy.
Oh,
Peach cobbler. Southern
Peach
things.
cobbler.
peach cobbler,
Pecan pie.
pecan
What about
pie.
peach picking?
Pecan picking.
Last Friday, we
Pecan.
went to Southern Hill Farms and did some peach picking. I got like 8 pounds of peaches.
That's fantastic.
And it was so much
Too
fun.
many
And then we made
peaches.
peach cobbler because we had so many peaches.
You say that was too many peaches?
So many peaches.
So many. No, not too many. The other day, I ate some peaches
That
because
cat is too old.
Too old.
too old cat. No, I had some peaches, and then I had more peaches, and more peaches, and more, all on the same day, and still not tired of peaches.
Peaches are
She loves
delicious.
Juicy peaches.
I will.
It's true.
You know, to each their own. To each their own. So you sisters had
went
a
too.
good what?
I said, Mom, Dad, and I went too.
Oh, how fun!
Copycat.
Yeah, it was fun. They were like, yeah, because you went, they were like, we need to go. So we went. It was,
I mean,
Somebody's
I went.
hold on.
because
Somebody's touching their
Acacia
microphone.
went.
hand check.
Okay, now it's not there.
I was messing with something. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. It was just
I'm
like, sorry, no, I did that the other day, just like behind the curtain, everybody. I'm over here clicking a pen because
Oh
I
my
can't hear
gosh.
it because I have a sound headphones
no.
on, you know? And then I start editing the podcast and you hear click, 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 and I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
oops.
I was getting a report from this nurse, and she was just clicking her pen the whole time, and I was like, I'm gonna take that pen and I'm gonna stab her if she doesn't stop it. I was just like, and then the tech was in the room too, and she walks up to her, she grabs her hand, and she's like, "You have to stop that." It was bad. I was like,
Lisa, you
Oh
okay?
my goodness.
"Yeah, I'm fine now."
You know, it's funny.
Intervention.
No, never mind. That won't work. But I was going to say, Elise.
Elise.
That leads us into today's topic because I have a
Does
really
it?
seamless
Does it?
transition, but it didn't work. So,
Somewhere. Here's a seamless transition for you, Elise. Somewhere in some universe, you did stab her.
Possibly. That actually, Cari, that was way better. Way better
Yeah.
than Erin's. 10 out
I
of 10
had
for
a
you.
good
Cari.
one.
You get an F minus, Erin.
I got A+.
I'll give you a C. Never mind, I'll give you a C.
I'll take
Oh,
the
I
F
thought you said
minus.
me. I was like,
It's
I can't.
fine. I'll take it. Whatever. No one ever said I was good at transitions.
No,
no one ever.
Okay, well, so the topic of, well, there are so many different ways to say it. There's alternate universe, parallel universe, alternate reality. There's like a million different ways to say the same thing. Okay, the ghost is gone.
For now.
So, edit back in. We just had a ghost, so we're gonna get right back into Elise talking
In some
about.
universe, there are ghosts. Aren't there, Elise?
I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I'm saying is, there are a million different ways to say the same thing, and in my mind, the different terminology should mean, like, something different, right? Because reality, you don't think of reality meaning the same thing as universe, which means the same thing as dimension, right? But they all essentially mean the same thing. But there are tons of different theories about alternate universes.
Okay.
Or parallel universes.
Or universein.
I don't think that's correct. But
Yeah,
you're
well,
the English person.
Wait, hold on.
Agree.
Is hippopotamus, is it not hippopotamuses, it's hippopotami.
Syllabi.
So multiple
Is it?
universe,
Hippopotami? Oh.
Hippopotamuses.
I think.
That's what that song taught me.
We're just making stuff up.
And so I
saying it
think
like it's a fact.
universes is universi.
Universein.
Yes.
I liked mine, but fine. I get an F
No.
again.
Yeah. No, you get a D this time.
Oh.
Stop it. So, D, that's
Stop
a
it.
grade. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it. Okay, so there are a ton of different theories, and there's a lot of physics and quantum theory that goes into it, which is beyond my understanding. So I'm going to pretend that's not a thing.
Okay.
I watched this whole video on it today, and I didn't understand a single thing they were saying.
But you were really invested.
I was
Is this
kind of
like-
like, nah, I got my own theory.
Is this that string theory thing?
Yes, they started going to string theory, and I'm not going to because string theory, I get how it has to do with the alternate universe theories, but also it just kind of seems like it takes you on a rabbit trail.
Okay.
So I don't want to talk about string theory.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes when I almost do something like something embarrassing, like I almost trip in front of people or almost drop a glass and break it, I usually stop and go like, huh, in some dimension somewhere, Cari did that. Cari dropped that and did something really embarrassing.
It's so funny. I had that
Which
same thought today, too.
Is like
Yeah.
the daughter universe theory.
Oh, go ahead.
So the daughter universe theory essentially says that each decision we make creates another universe or reality.
Mhm.
So I was like, that sounds ridiculous. There are, roughly 7 billion people on the planet?
Currently. But
Currently,
everyone
no.
who's ever existed.
I'm going to get into that. So currently. And I looked it up. I guess, so some research says that people make about 35,000 conscious decisions each day.
Oh my god,
So
I can't do this anymore. I'm
35,000
done.
times 7 billion. And then you'd have to multiply that by when humans started existing. Each human that ever existed, right?
Mhm.
So just today,
Mhm.
with that theory, I made 35,000 universes. You each made 35,000 universes because that theory is each decision makes a whole universe.
Okay.
No, are you mathing it?
Yep.
I didn't.
Million.
Oh, you are? I didn't.
Billion?
Billion,
Times-
right?
Billion. 7
Times
billion.
7 billion.
35,000 equal a large number.
Yeah,
It's a very large
2,
number.
4, 5. I was going to read all the
How-
zeros.
Yeah, go ahead.
3 zeros, 3 more zeros, 3 more zeros, and 3 more zeros. So 4 times
That's
3.
12.
It's million,
I don't
1,000, million,
know
billion,
numbers.
trillion. It's
Trillion.
245 trillion.
Trillion universes every day.
Every day.
Upload.
Every day.
Every day.
Also, this is another random factoid that this website told me called raywilliams.ca. Cancer? I don't know. I just clicked on it. Must be trustworthy. It looks like a university or something.
Isn't CA like
It has
Canada?
a crest on top with a lion, so I think it's like
What was the
Gryffindor?
website one more time?
It's Gryffindor?
raywilliams.ca.
Wait, Ray?
How neuroscience can help us make better decisions. This says we make 226.7 decisions each day on just food alone.
Huh.
Are we
And I
each
give in to
making
every single one of them.
227 universes just based on our food decisions?
I mean, today I had some delicious soft pretzels and beer cheese.
I may have
So,
eaten
by making that
207 times
decision-
today.
You make
Some other thing happen?
So, like, I don't know. That theory, to me, it makes sense that you would think each decision could make an alternate timeline,
Mhm.
right? But then you think, okay, maybe only major decisions make
Yeah.
alternate timelines. But what constitutes a major decision? Because if you think about it, this is a stupid analogy I thought of. But, like, I bought my car, right? And because I bought my car where I did, Carrie decided I'm going to go there to buy a car, too. I'm sick of my old car. So she went there, decided to buy a new car. She had been wanting to buy a new car, right? But she wasn't like, oh, I have to buy a new car right now. But then she was, like, prompted, I'm going to buy a new car.
Yeah, I wasn't driving.
So, if you didn't buy a new car, and you still had your old Saturn, whatever, and you still drove it, and then it died in the middle of I-4, and you got in a horrible accident. That's like a major thing that could occur based on one tiny decision that I made, right?
So, on a
So
different...
even a small decision can balloon into, like, a huge thing. So what constitutes major versus minor decisions?
Oh, that's a
Because
really
there's a
good point.
snowball effect there.
Yes, exactly.
It's like the butterfly effect. Like, if a butterfly flaps its wings, it can create a tsunami kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. So there's no major versus minor, really.
By the way, that's a bad movie. But anyway, that's true. You're right, because there isn't. Because every little thing can lead up. Like,
Yeah, we have no idea, no way of telling what our small decisions will turn into down the
you're
line.
like, I'm going to go eat at Taco
What
Bell. Delicious. And 6 hours later, you're like, I
You
should
have
never
massive
be eating Taco
diarrhea, and then you're in the door of the
Always
bus
come
out.
here.
Like, I'm just saying, you never know.
Well, I was thinking, I went to Santiago's with some friends the other day, and Jode was like, ooh, I want some empanadas. And the guy's like, you should order them, like, right now, because they're going fast. So, say he ordered the empanadas, and because he ordered it, they're all gone. So someone else can't order it, and they order something else. But what if that thing give him food poisoning?
Exactly. As was my mind went to as soon as you said that. I was like, they could get food poisoning or something.
They could choke. I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't happen, as far as I know.
So the tiniest decision, we don't know, like, what it's actually gonna affect.
Okay, so
So then,
maybe I'm going too far here. But, like, so earlier today, like, I was just eating dinner, like, right before we started. And I was eating, and spinach went down the wrong way. And I thought, oh, this could kill me because it could choke, you know, kind of thing. Not the spinach, but the choking. And then I was fine. But because I decided to cough what I did, I may have survived. But if I hadn't and I died, does that mean like another Erin may not have made that same decision and she's now dead?
yeah,
Exactly.
that could happen. Like, you know, times
I'm
when
an Erin murderer,
you
apparently.
have quick reflexes and you slam on the brakes just in time.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or those people who talk about, like, that, like, the 9/11 stories of people who were like, oh, I stopped at the store when I don't normally stop the store, and I was late
Yes.
for work, and I survived because I wasn't there.
Which brings me to another thought of, okay, so if my decision influences another person's decision,
Yes.
does me making a different decision and creating another universe just create another universe alongside that other person's decision? And that is another universe where we both made that decision? Or is there a universe for each decision that we make separate from each other's decisions?
That's too many universes.
But if
for
your
me.
decisions could affect someone else, then someone else's decisions
Exactly.
can affect me.
But every decision you make can
so
affect
we're not in
somebody
control
else.
of our lives.
Exactly. And also, the more I say decisions, it gets harder to
Decisions.
say.
You're like turning a Sean
Like
Connery.
decisions.
Decision.
Hello, decision.
So that's one theory that can make you spiral forever.
Yeah, it already has.
Okay,
But then, what?
so how do we know where we're living?
We don't. That was okay. This was another thing I thought of today. So if we make a decision and that makes a new branch, so if we say our universe is a tree,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes our decision makes a new branch,
Mm-hmm.
that new branch is still connected to our beginning, right? Our roots.
Okay.
So technically, I got really blurry. So technically,
The computer's losing focus here.
does that new universe, is it as old? It's not, technically, it can't be as old as our current universe,
Mm-hmm.
although it has the same history as our universe, but it's new, right? You look angry.
No, it's like
Because it makes you spiral. And then I think about this. If there are different universes branching off of the same universe,
Mhm.
what universe number are we? We have no way of knowing.
We're universe
Maybe
prime.
we're the first. Maybe we're the 7 billionth.
Because
So
we don't
it's
know if we're in
like-
prime or not.
This could be the darkest timeline. Or
This
it
is
could
the
just be a
darkest. No,
medium
no,
timeline.
I know for sure this is the darkest timeline, like hands down.
But we don't
No
know
doubt in my
that.
mind.
Because remember last year when, like, the murder hornet
Yes,
showed up
and where'd they go?
What if there's a universe where they're still plaguing people?
Yeah.
It is kind of weird that the murder hornets did disappear.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's
it's a
another-
really weird
Okay,
one.
this brings me to another thing. Dimensions. If you look at the definition
yes.
of dimension, because I would think dimension and universe mean two different things. They do. But dimension, the definition for it is in physics and mathematics, the dimension of a blah, 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 is informally defined as a minimum number of coordinates needed to specify any point within it. So a dimension just talks about, it's just space, right?
Okay.
So if we think, there's the whole belief that the universe is infinitely expanding.
Mhm.
So, is our universe within a dimension? So, like, we have
So
we have our
it's like-
planet inside a solar system, inside a galaxy, inside a universe, inside a dimension.
So it's like, okay, in Men in Black, spoiler alerts, if you haven't seen Men in Black, it's 20 years
What's wrong
old,
with
that's
you?
weird. It's a great movie. And in Men in Black, you have, like, you see the marble, because, like, you know, the cat's wearing the whole dimension, whole universe in there. And then, like, you have the one marble, and then you see the aliens holding the bag of marbles. It's like that.
So, a dimension
we're
is a
inside a marble,
defined
inside a
space.
marble,
That
inside a
how can a dimension contain a universe if a dimension is a defined space and the universe is infinitely expanding?
Well,
So I like to think of dimensions
Maybe-
as, like, separate planes.
Okay.
So, like, we have this reality, this dimension, right? And then beside us, maybe a different, kind of like, okay, think of, like, ghosties, right? We
Okay.
can't see ghosties, but what if they exist because, what if they're not the
Because there's
dead,
a
right?
a
What if there's a
bleed or a tear?
partition, a tear from another dimension, and we see them? I think there's a show that talks about this.
That's a belief people have for sure. But that means that dimensions exist on top of each other.
Yes.
Existing in
And
the
there's,
same
like, a
space.
fissure.
Right, and then, like,
So
you have
if the universe is ever expanding, then dimensions have to be ever expanding. And that's not a dimension then because it's not a defined space.
which would go back to my theory that dimensions are different planes within the same reality.
Okay, so they don't contain the universe.
No.
They're just different.
They're just different
They're
levels
just like
within.
layered on top of each other.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of
So-
like
This brings me to another thing. I'm sorry.
No,
you-
go ahead,
fine.
go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The term alternate reality or parallel reality just doesn't sit right with me because reality is everything that exists, right? So, like, this is the definition I found of reality. The world or the state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them, or the state or quality of having existence or substance. So there's no such thing as an alternate reality then,
It's just
because
reality.
reality encompasses everything that exists.
It's
So
alternate.
it's all one reality.
It would be alternate to us.
Yes,
but
our
it
perception.
is our perception and our realm of reality. However,
Exactly.
it is not an alternate reality because it is the concrete reality of someone else.
Yes, exactly. Because it exists, so therefore it is reality. It's not alternate. It's an
It's
alternate,
alternate for
for
our
like an
perception.
alternate perception of reality.
But perception is
Flawed.
subjective.
Oh.
So
Elise is just like flawed, and you're like, I'm gonna be nicer. Okay.
So reality is subjective,
Uh-huh.
not objective. So
Well, that makes
alternate
sense.
reality is subjective to the person or perceiving the alternate idea of it. So if you were a guest in a new dimension or reality, it is alternate to you. But it is
Yes.
reality to everyone else, and you are the alternate. So
Yes.
it can't exist synonymously.
Yeah, I think.
But it can too, because it can exist synonymously because you're coming from your own reality. So it's synonymous but not synonymous.
Yes, I think so. That's why I don't really like the term alternate reality.
Elise
I think
thinks it's
it's
derogatory.
inaccurate. I think it's inaccurate. But alternate universe, I mean, there are problems with that terminology too. But I feel like it's better than alternate.
An alternate
reality
universe
to
would
me.
make more sense to me
Yes.
because it is a universe that is alternate to this universe. They're two
Yeah.
separate planes. But reality itself means something that is concrete, that is real, that is
Yes.
around you, which means that cannot be alternate. if
It
is real
doesn't
for
matter
someone
how
else.
many dimensions or universes away it is, it's still part of reality.
So this, so Bermuda Triangle,
Okay.
is that a fissure between realities or dimensions or planes? And what is your take on that, Elise? I was
I
listening
mean,
to
I
Red
think
Web and
that
they
it
talked about
could
it
definitely be the case.
because
I mean-
they still haven't found a lot of things that have disappeared in the
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Even things
I mean,
that
I feel like
disappeared,
the
10 years
ocean
ago.
itself is like a whole alternate dimension down there.
Yeah.
I don't know what goes down.
Well, I mean,
don't know
considering
there.
there's so much of it, like, 95% of the ocean has yet to be
Yeah.
explored. I mean,
and it's
the
most of our
depths-
planet.
Exactly.
And there's miles upon miles upon miles just straight
Deep.
down that we can't
Yeah.
even get to.
There's things
That's a whole
down there,
other topic,
guys.
though.
We can get into that. It almost leads to the hollow earth theory, which is... I mean, they brought it up in Godzilla, so
I
we'll
was
see
about
how
to say,
reality...
didn't King Kong just dig through there?
Interesting. So...
Tokyo?
Tokyo.
Not Tokyo, Hong Kong.
No, Hong Kong. So... I feel dumb.
Oh, thinking about this makes me feel super dumb, too.
Okay, good.
But then the fact that no one can agree on anything, and like the fact that there's been actual scientific research into this, and still no one can agree on anything. Like apparently Stephen Hawking even wrote a paper on it. This is
Really?
a quote: "We are not down to a single unique universe, but our findings imply a significant reduction of the multiverse to a much smaller range of possible universes."
That narrows everything down. Thank you, S. Hawking.
Yeah. So
The hawk, as I like to call
let me
him.
see.
The Hawk. Thank
The
you,
Hawk.
the Hawk.
Then there's
Alright, so
another
fly
theory,
high.
parallel universe theory.
See, that one makes more sense to
says-
me.
This one says that there's a limited number. It's an insane number that I put it into Google and Google said undefined, so it's like 10 to the 10th to the 122nd. You can't see it.
No, can't say
Okay,
it's too
but
bright.
doesn't
parallel
make sense to me.
universe, by its name, implies that there are things happening in succession
Mm-hmm.
in the same time as us.
Because
Yes,
you have...
It's parallel.
Well,
Because,
does it?
But a parallel.
Because parallel doesn't necessarily mean time is running at the same time. It
No,
means
but
that
we
they are
moving in the same
concurrent
direction.
within...
Yes, we are moving in the same direction. We could be in. It's like our time is moving at the same time as far as time in the concept of a 24-hour day. But it doesn't mean that we are progressing in the same technological sphere.
But does it mean time goes in the same direction? Because parallel, we could literally have... Let's say you have one universe on the left, or one dimension, or universe, one limit on the left, one on the right. They're parallel. But it doesn't mean they're necessarily moving parallel.
Well,
It just
the
means-
implication of parallel universe implies that it's the same world as ours. So time itself would be the same. Maybe there's a delay and we're not moving the exact same time, but the way time works should be the same because it's supposed to be a similar universe.
But is time linear or is time a circle?
Well, Elise also believes
It's
that
Jeremy
time is a
Bearimy.
construct.
Okay, I think time. Okay, we talked about this before, and I tried to explain it, and Erin didn't understand. But essentially, what I'm saying is,
That I didn't understand.
time exists how we perceive it, essentially. Because, okay, if you can alter your state of mind and time passes differently, then time is a perception.
But then you are
there's
altered,
the physical.
which
Okay,
means that
but
you are
the-
impaired.
The ultimate.
Yes, and then time to us, time is different. We don't know that we each experience time the same way. Like maybe an hour feels way longer to me than it does to you. Not saying that an hour isn't a set thing,
That's
but
the
our
thing.
perception of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
That
okay,
time itself is concrete in the way that time in its true form works and is. However, our perception of time is altered by our perception of time. Because there are times when people are like, man, this workday is taking so long. And I'm like, really? I feel like it's flying by.
Yeah.
Time itself is concrete in the way that it works, but the way that we experience time is going to be different.
That's
But
what.
also,
Yes.
if you think about what's the blip theory, or basically the theory that the universe could just disappear at any moment and we wouldn't know until we just stopped existing. Because say that the universe just starts collapsing in on itself. We wouldn't know before it was too late. Well, we'd be gone by the time we know, which means we wouldn't actually know. Because the sun could disappear, but the rays of light that were hitting us, they could still hit us for 8 minutes because it takes that long for the sun lights to get to us. So by the time the sun disappears, we wouldn't even know that it's gone, and we would be gone by the time before it even hits us. So the way that time hits us, the way that sun hits us, which helps us perceive time, is also altered by the way that the light hits us.
Okay, but it also works in reverse, right? We could have started existing today, but we have all these memories downloaded in our brain. We have no proof that any of it actually happened.
No, we're not in a coma.
We could have just we exist now.
If this is a coma, please wake me up because it's hell.
I'm just saying.
Not this conversation. I meant like
today. We could have started existing yesterday. We could have started existing anytime. We don't know.
So you're saying your childhood may not have ever existed?
Exactly. As a kid, I always wondered if while I was awake, I was another little girl's dream.
Yeah.
And when I went to sleep, I wondered, am I sleeping because she's awake now?
Okay, I understand.
And then, not exactly my life is her extremely boring dream.
Okay, but if we look at it that way, like if let's say we did just start existing yesterday, right? Let's say that is a concept that happened or a thing that happened, and saying that your childhood may not have happened because you just came into existence, then why do people have memories of you?
Because if we're an offshoot of another reality, we're still connected to the roots. We're still connected to the beginning. But we're just another branch that is slightly different because of a decision someone made.
Well, I mean, existence is because of a decision someone made. Like, you and I did not choose to be born. Our parents decided to have us. Our existence is solely based on other people's decisions.
They didn't even decide to have us. They decided to have a child, and it happened to be us.
That's true, too.
Because, I mean, first of all, Saturn, great song by Sleeping at Last, but one of the lines in Saturn is how rare and beautiful it is to even exist. Which it's true because it's a 1 in 100 million chances or something. I'm probably blowing that number up, but I think it's 1 in a million chances, actually, that you would exist. Because for that one sperm to meet that one egg that created you was honestly improbable, but it happened.
Erin's glitching.
Because if it was another
this kind of brings me to another thing. It's not really an alternate reality or like multiverse theory, anything. But we exist as pieces of other people. Mm-hmm. We are made up of other people's decisions. And so if you think about it too hard, it's like, does anything I do, is that actually me? Because we're all made up of the people around us, the people who influence us, the people who came before us, right before us, way before us, millions of, whatever. We're made up of that.
I would like to take a moment, just for all of us to breathe, everyone who's listening, everyone who's here with me,
everyone who's spiraling,
and just kind of calm down for a second and do this little play along a home thing with me. Just stop, open your eyes, and just think about that you're living in this exact moment right now, and it really will destroy your brain. Right now. I know. You're living this moment. Think about, get in your head and think about, I'm existing right now.
Think about the fact that other people are allowed to perceive you outside of your perception of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, you ever walk into a room and people are like, oh, we were just talking about you. And I'm like, why? Like, you perceive me when I'm not around to perceive you?
I had that happen the other day. I was in a car dropping Leia off, and we were talking about an old classmate of mine who had, like, not dropped out, but who had left, after the end of the semester or whatever, he left. And, like, we talked about them for just a moment, and then I dropped her off, and I pulled out, and I got a text message, and it was that person.
They felt it.
It was the weirdest thing. And when I responded, I'm like, this is so weird. I was literally 2 seconds ago, like, I dropped her off less than a minute later. I'm like, I was just talking about you. That's so weird.
That's why, like, if I ever get in an argument with someone and they're like, you're being selfish or rude, I don't like to say, no, I'm not. Because it's like, well, something about what I'm doing translates to you that I am doing this intentionally to hurt you. So that's your perception of me. I can't tell you you're wrong about your perception of me because something I'm doing is translating that. So I'll figure out what that is and try and adjust it, because it's like, how do I know that my tone of voice that I hear in my voice sounding fine doesn't mean something else to you, because I can't hear me the way that you hear me.
And it's because humans, there's no way for us to know that we perceive anything the same way as another person.
We don't even know
We
what colors
can
are seen the same.
assume, like, we assume, oh, we both found that funny, so we perceive it the same way, but there's no proof of that. We can't get inside of each other's brains. There's no way to know.
One fact of that is, if you watch a comedy special on your own, you'll chuckle. If you're watching it with someone else, you're going to laugh really hard out loud, because you're going to perceive the funny in a different level when you're with someone else.
Because you perceive it, like, socially.
So you're going to,
Or it's like when you watch a comedy special on your own and you're laughing and you're like, I want to share this with somebody else, and there's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're like, is this not funny?
I thought this was really funny.
I didn't laugh at this either.
Yeah, actually, I didn't watch this before.
What is
I
this?
heard about this. But yeah, I mean, we don't even know that we perceive colors the same way. We don't know we perceive scents the same way. I mean, I get headaches from the same scent that you, Elise, find lovely. I can't handle rose. You can.
That's because your brain's messed up.
Well,
So,
maybe.
no, I'm kidding. Another thought. So if we believe that different decisions are what makes different universes, then we're not, that's one theory. But then there's, like, other theories that anything that can exist exists somewhere else, right? So in another universe, do we have, like, magical powers?
Well, Murphy's
I want
law
that universe.
is anything that can happen will happen.
Yeah.
But when you think that, that's not true.
No.
I thought
Unless
Murphy's Law
the
was anything that
implication
can
is-
go wrong.
That's what people
wrong.
say. But the actual
Yeah.
law is
I was
anything
joking.
that can... Oh. Yeah, because people always say that anything that
Yeah.
can go wrong, but it's like, anything that can happen will happen, good or bad. But I'm like, that's not true, because everything would be converging at once. Unless, because I've never really studied the theory, is a theory really that anything that can happen will happen somewhere at some time for someone or something at some point.
But do different universes exist with the same rules that we exist with? Like, do they exist with the same rules of physics and chemistry and whatever? Or do they exist outside of our own rules?
That gets me with, like, aliens. So people constantly, we have to find the right amount of water and the right amount of oxygen and the right amount of all this to create carbon life. Well, that's true. Yes, we are carbon-based life. But that doesn't mean on another planet they're not nitrogen-based or helium-based or even some element that we've never discovered because it doesn't exist here. To state that all life must be carbon-based, as so many people do, it doesn't make sense. So it's that same kind of idea that just because we perceive it this way or we live off of something because of X, Y, and Z.
Because we have these rules for our existence.
Doesn't
Well,
mean
like,
their existence can't be different.
What about the fact that our environment has changed so much over time for decisions that humans have made? So in other universes, universein, they have changed too by decisions that humans or whatever living there have made, which means that their atmosphere is going to be different. So their bodies have adapted and evolved to fit those, which means that it can keep going, and who knows what they need to sustain themselves. Because maybe humans in another universe are more adaptable to atmospherical and environmental changes than we are.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no telling that other universes live by the same rules we have to live by. And that they have developed in the same way we've developed.
You okay there, Erin?
No,
Erin's just spiraling this whole episode.
Seriously, it just hit me. I'm like, what if in another universe we're all cartoon characters? I just hit. I don't know. I mean, do I think
are we
that's
like
I'm
two-dimensional, or are we?
No, we're 3-dimensional, like Disney characters or something. I don't know. I looked at my pin board. Disney is what I saw. I don't think we are Disney characters.
I don't think we are Disney. Me neither.
You okay there? You're like, I would like to be Disney.
I mean, who wouldn't? They're very rich.
They're very
Okay.
Okay.
You broke us.
What if in
I'm
one
sorry.
universe
No, you're not.
there were 9 of us instead of 8 of us? You know. How would our family have changed if there was a brother between Jordan and I, and Elise and Jordan still existed? Or
I know. I think
If
about that
we
a lot
still
too.
did.
Actually.
have a brother after me, would Elise and Jordan exist?
Dang.
Yeah, I remember.
Because if Ryan was still here, what would have happened? What happened? What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened? What happened?
Oh, I
where?
forgot. I found this definition. It's on phys.org. And it says, dimensions are simply the different facets of what we perceive to be reality. Which makes more sense to me.
Okay.
Because we're not saying a different reality. We're saying our perception of reality makes different dimensions, which kind of goes with what you were saying, like where dimensions are layered on top of each other. But we perceive this reality, this version of our reality, but then other people, like, in the other dimensions are perceiving
But
whatever
it's
else.
like the dimension is flat, but also
Yes. That was a whole nother thing in
Three-dimensional.
that video. They were talking about whether the universe was flat or concave
See,
or convex or
flat
whatever.
makes
and
more
they
sense
said
to
they
me.
shot a laser into space and they were like, yep, the universe is flat. And I was like, you just shot a laser into space? How'd you do
doesn't-
that? What?
That's not concrete, because what if it's not a laser that we needed to determine the shape of the universe?
They did it by with angles, and they were like, it would be an 80-degree angle or 180-degree angle, blah,
But
blah,
then-
whatever. And I'm like, y'all are just
No.
speaking nonsense.
Yeah,
And other
but
people
then-
were like, nah, that's
Then
not
you
true.
start going into the realm of the flat Earth theory of, if the Earth was round, then you would need to build bridges a certain way, but you don't because you're not taking into consideration that. So when you
Well, they were
use
talking
that,
about
I
how-
feel like you're going in that.
They were talking about
Hmm.
how if you have a balloon and you have a bug on top of the balloon, if it's a balloon like this, the bug is going to perceive it as rounded, right? But if you have a bigger balloon, it's more flat space, and the bug is going to perceive it as flat.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
that's
how
what they were
Earth
saying
works.
with the universe, because they were saying it could be huge and round, but it's perceived as flat because of how
Exactly.
big it is. But then they were saying how they shot a laser and said it was flat.
See,
It
it
didn't make
makes
sense.
sense to me that the universe, it's flat with 3-dimensional things inside of it. I don't know why. It's probably
know.
because when you see drawings of the universe, they're flat. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But no, it
Well,
kind
they
of
had
makes sense
one
that
graphic that was like the universe was a donut shape, and I was
well, I
like,
shouldn't
I
say
like that.
universe. I guess galaxy. And
Oh,
that's
yeah,
another
a
thing because we
galaxy.
each there's how many galaxies within this universe itself.
Exactly. So, what's happening in other galaxies? There's no proof that there aren't human, or humanoid creatures in these.
Let's
other
be real.
galaxies on
If we
other
are the
planets.
only creatures in this entire universe, and however many universes and galaxies there are, what a boring universe there
I
is.
know. It
What
doesn't.
a
It
waste of
seems.
the universe.
It
What a
sounds
waste.
more ridiculous that we're the only
Yes.
human creatures in all of existence than there being multiple worlds with multiple types of humans.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, people are like, oh, we're
the
the only.
universe is too big. And if it's infinitely expanding,
Then
then-
infinite things can happen.
yeah, then there's no telling what's going on in other galaxies or
Yeah.
anything.
It's one of those things I've talked to people and like, oh, you believe in aliens? I'm like, well, do you believe in life? Then yes, I believe in aliens.
I believe in the possibility of anything is possible.
I mean, I'm not saying that I believe that alien life has come to. Well, we're not going to get all the way into that because, probably. But I'm not saying
That's
they're.
another episode.
That's another
Those
episode.
could be aliens.
I'm not
Talk
saying
about
like
conspiracy
they're
theories.
they're
Those could be
constantly like UFOs coming here. There's a whole bunch of
But
stuff
what
going on.
if-
But you
wait,
know what I mean?
Did you say earlier? Did you say that maybe ghosts are people who died from the other side? through
No,
the veil?
no.
Or you were saying that they're
So
other people
okay,
in
Doctor
another
Who.
dimension?
Doctor Who did this, and it just hit me. But it's kind of like in Doctor Who, where there's a tear in the fabric of the dimension, and we can perceive something from that other. I'm not saying
Okay,
they're
yeah.
dead. I'm just saying it's possible that
We're walking
ghosts
through the same space at
are
the same time. So we feel each other.
shadows Yes, that are existing from the other dimension.
Which
Now,
could be like why sometimes we feel things that aren't there, or hear things that weren't.
Or
like when we hear our
dudes-
name called, or we hear a noise that didn't happen.
Today, I'm working on some homework. I'm laying on the floor. All of a sudden, there is creaking on the floor behind me. Now, I don't mean like, kind of, I mean like almost like footsteps behind me.
Nope.
I look around, I'm freaking out, and then like in the kitchen, the dishwasher, which is closed, popped open.
What's the problem? Alternate you was doing some dishes.
Alternate you should have been done all the dishes because they're still dirty dishes. So alternate me, you suck.
Maybe alternate you had done all the dishes, and just this you didn't. And maybe alternate you's
Probably
better.
more real life. That's more realistic. Let's be real. Alternate is probably way better at doing dishes.
But think of all like the unsolved murders and stuff where they find like what's that lady in the
The Black Dahlia.
not the Black Dahlia because people know her.
The Sicily Hotel? What's it called? The hotel.
The hotel? The
Not the
one that was in the water tower?
No.
And
No, because people know she has a family. People know who they are. The
Yeah.
the one who died
the
in
valley,
Russia
Valley.
or something. What was that?
The
It
late.
wasn't Russia.
What's it called?
Are you talking about the lady in the hotel who was murdered?
No.
And no one knows who she is?
The Isdal woman.
Oh, the Isdal woman.
The one where
Okay.
like she has a body. No one can find. There's no traces. All the tags are cut from her clothes.
Oh,
no one knows who
like
she
the
is.
man from
Yes.
Summerlin.
Yes.
And there was like no
Oh,
trace
yeah.
of who did what and when where. What if it was someone who had flipped, like somehow slipped through the fissures of the dimension, and that's why they couldn't find it.
So now my
I
eyes are
feel
tearing.
like though when did this happen? This was the 70s. But I feel like now if that happens, wouldn't we find like particles or something that wouldn't be native to our planet?
Well, think
and
about
people
how
would
long
be
it
like,
took
the
for us
dudes
to
in
read
Brazil.
DNA.
The what? Huh? You both said something.
I was like, think of how long it took us to be able to read DNA for like
Yeah,
crime
true.
scene.
there's a lot of times there are things that happen, and they find material that they can't trace to anything that they have no connection to, and they're like, there's traces of something, makes no sense what it is. Just put it aside and find what we can. It happens all the time.
I was talking to Skylar, and maybe I mentioned this, and I could be wrong. I may not be completely right. But so there's a story this guy was telling us, and that's our 12-year-old niece, by the way. She's so great with this. And it was called The Man from Torrid. In the 1950s, this man showed up in the Japanese airport. They're going through all the stuff, and they're looking at his passport, which is weird, because it's a country that doesn't exist. It's like, where are you from? He goes, I'm from Torrid. And they're like, it doesn't exist. He's like, it's between Spain and another country. I can't remember exactly where.
Gives me chills.
And they're like, it's not on the map. Like, it does not exist. So they're going through this whole thing, and they end up, because they can't verify where he's from, they can't let him pass. So they're like, we'll put you up in a hotel so we can figure out what's going on. And he has visas from other countries. Like, this man isn't fake. Like, he has visas. He has this. So they put him in a hotel room. He's on the 4th floor. The next day they go and check on him, and he's gone. Everything is gone. He couldn't have left because there was guards. He couldn't have gone outside the window because he would have died and they would have found his body. Where did he go? And Skylar's theory is that he accidentally passed through a thin veil or hole in the different dimensions of our universe and slipped into ours. The universe realized it made a mistake, and then he went back. I mean, this is our 12-year-old niece having this amazing theory. But
we should have had
what
her on this
happened?
episode.
We really should have.
She's
She would have
gonna
been
be
like,
at home listening to this, getting like frustrated.
she's like, Erin, you're telling the story wrong. It's like this. And I'll be like, sorry, Sky. So if I said it wrong, Skylar, I apologize. But yeah, so it's like that kind of thing. Like, if this is a true story, which there is enough reports to make this seem very believable that it is true, what happened to him?
But there are a lot of stories very similar to this that have happened. Like, you can just go online. Things as recent as the 80s and 90s, we still have. So actually, I think there was something in the early 2000s of like people appearing and disappearing who just don't seem to fit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I just think that there are too many possibilities. Like, there's no way to Okay. There's no way to, like, say one theory is more likely than the other, even though to me, like, the whole daughter universe theory sounds ridiculous.
Oh my gosh,
That we're
it just
making
seems
245 trillion universes every day. That sounds insane. But also,
Oh,
then
also
what
when you think of the
dictates-
universe is constantly expanding infinitely, then it almost does make sense because it has to expand infinitely to accommodate that many universes being produced per day.
but we're also just saying our planet, the Earth, is making 245 trillion universes a day. What about all the other universes? What about all the other existences? Are they also making 245 trillion plus universes every day?
Goodbye.
Have you ever read, like, the egg story? The egg short story? I think it's the egg story.
Humpty Dumpty?
Humpty Dumpty, yeah.
You said
That was
on
no,
a wall.
About the one where
Yeah,
it's
him.
like this man talking to God, and he was like, "Who are you?" And God's like, "I am you." And basically, the whole story ends with saying that every single life that has ever happened has been me, who is you, putting us into infinite stories and bodies to live throughout eternity, and every single possibility that could ever exist.
No.
What?
No.
I didn't catch that.
No, I don't.
It's
No.
it's this idea that God is us and we are God, and we are all just different pieces of a story that He has put His self into.
If I am
herself
God,
into themselves.
I'm really bad at it.
If reincarnation is real, are we strictly reincarnated back into our own universe?
Oh gosh, man,
That is like a really good question. I would like to talk to someone who does study and believe in reincarnation to understand, like, if they believe in multiple universes, can we jump from plane to plane, or are we? Because if our decisions were happening in this universe, unless there's branches, maybe we do stick to this universe. But if there are branches, we could
jump but to a different universe.
Yeah.
Look, ladies, my head is exploding. Like, that's a lot. Because I always felt like not always, my thought is if reincarnation were to be real, and I don't know enough about reincarnation to even try to posit anything, we would have to come back in our universe because this is where we're tethered to. And that last decision, whatever we made in said universe, or unless we split,
because
and then that's
isn't
a different.
reincarnation the idea of, like, continually being rebirthed until you meet, like, I don't know. What
Depends on
that is. I don't
people's
wanna,
beliefs.
Like,
Because, like, Hindus and Buddhists all believe in some types of well, I don't know all beliefs, but there's some kind of reincarnation in some of those beliefs, and they're all different. And there are other people, like people I know who are spiritualists who believe in reincarnation, and they believe that their essence of humanity, their essence of themselves, is rebirthed into a new person over and over again because we're all ancient souls and ancient spirits, and we can tap into those memories somehow.
I mean, sometimes it feels like that. Like, you ever meet someone and, like, right away, like, you feel a connection with them?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read this, but isn't that kind of what Cloud Atlas was about?
I don't know.
Like, they
Didn't
kept
see
finding
it.
each other.
Oh, there are a lot of
Throughout-
stories like that, though.
Yeah.
Didn't that happen?
Oh, that was
Wonder
like
Woman
Dreams
or
May
something?
Come. As
Not Wonder Woman.
Let's not talk about Wonder Woman.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. He said Wonder Woman. I got
She
triggered.
starts twitching.
I was like, let's not go there. But like, what Dreams May Come is the same thing. Like this man and woman meet. They fall in love. She dies. When he dies, he finds her so they can meet each other and like be reincarnated again.
Oh, yeah, like that movie with Blake Lively and that
It's like Russian Doll.
Oh,
I haven't seen that yet.
Not really. It's not real. Watch it. It's so good.
Well, I
but
need to.
Russian Doll, kind of, I didn't finish it from the episodes I made it
Finish
to.
it. The ending is so good.
I need to, but like, doesn't that one kind of, from where I'm at in it, it's like what's going to happen is going to happen regardless of what decision you make. Right?
Watch it. Just watch all of it.
Okay.
The reason I thought of it is because it kind of, like, leads up to them, like, having to meet, and they keep, like, having to re-meet after they, like, each time they die. It's not a spoiler.
No. I was just thinking.
It's such a good show. Watch it.
I've wanted to. It's on my list. I just haven't watched it yet. No, I was just thinking that would be awful. Like, I have to keep re-meeting the same person over and over again. Yeah. It's like Groundhog Day.
Well, I was going to say,
see, that's
another important to you, but important doesn't always mean good.
But it might not be important to you. It might be someone who's
tethered,
like, critical to your growth, or like you guys are critical to each other, even if you're not like.
But critical doesn't mean good, so it could be someone who challenges you in a negative way over and over for eternity.
It's kind of like
your eternal antagonist, your eternal nemesis.
It's the good place, bad place theory.
Yeah,
like
that's
the
a whole
idea.
nother thing, because the good place did make me think. The end of that, I was like, wait a second.
It hit home. I was like, wait, we have thoughts to have.
Yes, I was like, let me think about this. I was like, let me stop thinking about this.
But it brings up the whole thing, because they talking about soulmates, right? And then are soulmates real? Are they not real? And then constantly bringing it back and forth. That the idea was to torture, but the idea may have been true.
Yeah.
And that's like the idea, like finding somebody over and over, something over and over again that maybe oh man, I don't even know where I'm going anymore.
But when there was a whole storyline in The Good Place when the judge was like, well, you could have just been a good person by making a better decision. And then she goes into our real world and realizes it's not as simple because you try to make a good decision, but because everything behind that led up to the decision that was out of your control could have been bad. So you picking a flower that you thought was good could have somehow carried pesticides because someone put a pesticide on that. So it's like every decision is in your control and out of your control because of decisions made previously.
This is why humanity is like a circle. All of our decisions affect another person, and we're all made up of other people's decisions.
I was sitting on my porch today, and there were ants on the porch. And I thought, oh, I need to get ant killer so I can get rid of these ants. And then I thought, wow, why am I okay with killing an insect? Like, that idea of, oh, it's okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want cockroaches in my house. But, like, I don't want this here, therefore I can kill them.
Palmettos. They're an abomination.
It's like the ant, though. I don't want you here, therefore I shall kill you. Why is that okay? Like, it's
You're
a
an
weird
inconvenience to me.
Therefore you shouldn't be here.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
What if that ant is you?
No. What if that ant is, like... What if you don't kill that ant, but that ant decides to bite Bill? Bill is severely allergic to ants, and he ends up in the hospital, and something happens. So your decision to not kill the ant led to him going to the hospital or something.
But what if you don't?
But what if you do kill the ant, and then that angers the rest of the ants, and then something happens, and there's an uprising of the ants?
But what if you don't kill the ants, and the ant picks up something that takes it somewhere else? That somehow helps that ecosystem and helps another ecosystem, helps another ecosystem.
So my mind is
Fried.
Yeah, I feel like we need to do another episode on this because we're only scratching the surface, I feel like, of the thing. I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah.
My mind is like completely just like smashed. But this is really good. And I'm going to be researching. And I really think we should pick up this one again sometime soon. What do you ladies think?
Okay. I'm glad you guys sat through my rants.
No, this is great.
I think we should talk about this again, but I don't think anytime soon. I think I need a bit of an emotional,
I need a little mental break.
Spiritual break here.
It makes your head hurt.
So everybody, hey, let us know what you thought. Where are you guys standing? And if you have beliefs on these things that we touched on that we don't know about, let us know. Like, get in touch with us.
Or if you know of other theories that none of us even got to.
Yeah, let us know.
If you are someone who spiritually does believe in reincarnation, please enlighten us of what you think as well within this, like, multidimensional theory, if it's something that you do believe in, what you think could happen.
Yeah, and even
I would
if you
love to
don't
know.
believe it, like,
Yeah.
if you thought about it as it was true, like, how it would affect, like, how it
Yeah,
would go
please.
alongside with your
Please share.
beliefs of
I would love to
reincarnation.
hear.
Yeah. We would love to hear that from you guys because it's really interesting. Man, yeah.
On
Whoa.
that lovely brain-breaking note,
I'm glad we had
should
this
go
talk, guys.
get one of those weighted blankets.
I got one.
Just relax.
I'm gonna go have a glass of wine like you guys have.
Mm-hmm.
Elise, your face is looking-
I poured way too much.
So, okay, guys,
I poured
again.
so much.
Carrie and Elise sit in the same room as we said before, and Carrie sits in front of Elise. But I can
Pour
see,
up.
yep, she's pouring, so right
Pour up. Thank you, Dean.
Carrie just stuck her hand behind her again, is getting a glass of wine.
Oh,
But,
just a
like,
little left.
Elise a second ago is pouring herself a glass of wine and just looks straight into Carrie's camera as she's pouring the wine across the room.
Because I know you can see me through it, which kind of makes me uncomfortable, but...
I'm like looking. All right, guys. Well,
Hold up.
thank you so much for having this conversation. I can't wait to have another one.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So,
Also, thank you to Tiger Weather for the use of their song Golden the Lining off the album Cassandra for our intro and outro of this podcast. And thank you to our brother and producer, Kyle. He's amazing, and he did this whole new setup for me over here, and it looks awesome. I love it. So, thank you.
And thank you to you all for tuning in, listening to us, and rant about this. And I hope we didn't make you question reality too much, because I am.
Mhm.
But if you do want to reach out to us about anything we talked about tonight, please do. You can reach us through our Instagram, heygirlheycast, or our email, heygirlheycast@gmail.com. On Twitter someday when we tweet, one of those. And if you just want to reach out, say hi, want us to discuss something else, if there's something burning and you want to hear our thoughts on something, whether it's another dimensional thing or something lighter, please let us know.
yes, please.
Yes.
So I want to bring it really quick. So I had a couple people message me because we've been doing this contest about having people go in iTunes and rate and review us, and then let us know. Send us a picture, and we'll send a sticker and a thank you note. So that's still going on. So please, guys, go ahead and do that and send that information to us. But I had a couple people contact me saying they had a hard time finding us on iTunes. So if you go onto iTunes, you're going to search Hey Girl Hey Cast, not just Hey Girl Hey. So Hey Girl Hey Cast will be the first one that pops up. So if you don't use iTunes and you're having a hard time, go ahead and look for us that way.
Thank you. And any other housekeeping, or?
I think we're good, right?
Cool.
Hey, Sean.
Oh,
It has to be below the waist, doesn't it?
Ah, dang. Okay. Well, anyway. Thanks for listening to Hey Girl Hey. That was awful.
Yeah, we'll get there. Peace.